Step number one to writing a book or a novel is to have an idea. That is what is going to spring forward what you're going to be writing about. That's going to get words on the page. There's not an idea. Obviously, you can come up with ideas in a variety of different ways. Take it from your life, take it from even like a movie that you saw, maybe one little unique part of it that you found really interesting that director didn't explore further or the writer didn't explore further. In your favorite book, same thing goes there. Ideas can come from so many different places. I remember I had an idea. I live in Minnesota, so I was just driving around and I had the idea, what if somebody found somebody buried in the snow? Maybe there's a big snowfall the night before. Obviously, snow plowers are people that plow the snow and clear up the streets and everything. What if somebody that was plowing snow found a dead body? Obviously they report to the police, but what are sort of the events that can happen after that? So whatever the idea is, it can come from your own personal life. It can come from other people's movies, other people's books. Obviously, don't steal the whole book or whole movie. You can make it your own, but that's the first thing you're going to need in order to get started. Once you get that, it's pretty easy to get started because you're probably itching to get some words down on paper. So the idea of a rough draft is to just do it. This is a draft that nobody's ever gonna see. So have fun with it. Stephen King says this is his favorite part of writing the book is the rough draft because he can write whatever the hell he wants in there. Write whatever you want in the rough draft. Write as much as down as possible every single day. You can aim for 1,000 words or 4 pages or whatever it is that you want to get done, or maybe just writing for an hour and a half. Find out what routine works best for you. A lot of people work, they want to do it on the side. So you come home from work at the end of the day, maybe eat dinner, and then you sit down and write for as long as you can. Maybe that's your plan. There's writers who woke up in the morning and did it. There's writers who did it after work. There's obviously writers that did it full time once you get good enough. But there's so many different routines, just trial and error. Obviously you can't find what works best for you until you try a few things. At the end of the day, you just gotta say fuck it and put words down on paper. If you think it's gonna be something not great, who cares? Nobody's gonna see it. You're the only one that knows it exists. You're creating something. Just putting your best foot forward each and every day. I would suggest doing it every single day. I don't think it's something that you can do once or twice a week. Books are long. You got Stephen King who writes 600, 700 page books. That's not gonna be every writer. I'd say I would veer towards trying to do as much as possible as quickly as possible so you can learn the ropes. Get past the finding your process step so that you can focus on the actual writing. Because a lot of it is overcoming your own doubts about whether you want to write, what you want to write, how and when you're going to write, and finding whether it's an hour or 1,000 pages, what you're going to do every single day, so that you're not focusing on the routine of the thing. You're focusing on the actual work. Do not focus on grammar. I remember writing my first book, and I would write a page, and then I would edit it, and it just stopped the flow of ideas, whereas I should just continued writing and exploring different character paths, different obviously the story. I wasn't exploring the story because I was too worried about grammar and writing correctly. It's sort of daunting looking at a blank page and wondering how you're going to get 300 pages down. My first few attempts, it was I'd get to like page 70, 80, maybe 100, so maybe like 30,000 words or so. I remember writing my first draft and I would want to get to the end so I knew what would happen. Wasn't too invested in the middle, wasn't too invested in the characters. I just wanted to know how the story ended. So one thing that sort of works for me is knowing how the story ends so I can focus on each page as I'm writing it instead of jumping ahead. I would cut scenes short. I would say don't worry about the length of the book once you get done with it. Don't worry about it before you even start. You plan on sitting down and writing 1,000 words per day. Pretty typical book or a small novel would be around 80,000 words. So you're looking at about 80 days of writing. If you do it without taking weekends off, you're doing that in about almost 3 months. It can seem like a really long time when you're doing it, especially when you are rolling off an idea. You can definitely do it. I just find that that's not the best way for that I can do it. So the best way for me, getting everything down, getting like the beats of the story down so I know where it's going, and then I can edit the big picture stuff right away. A lot of times I just write, and then I get done with the first draft, and there's a lot of holes in it, I guess I should say. What has worked for me is organizing what I'm gonna write before I write it. I would say for a new writer, get that rough draft down, get some sort of semblance of a story, and then you can organize. Read books on organization. I like Robert McKee's story structure. Get those words down, and then you can edit those afterwards. Go celebrate after you get done with that. Go get McDonald's, go get a nice steak. Then just kind of move on for a little bit. Once you get done with that rough draft, obviously at a certain point you're gonna edit it. What I did the first time I finished a rough draft was just, I had another idea for a book, so I just started writing that. And then when I got done with that rough draft, then I started editing that first book that I wrote. Just write that next one. You're gonna get better at writing if you just keep doing it, and eventually, hopefully, you'll get something that people will pick up and read. But I mean, they can't read anything that isn't there. You can't edit a blank page. So just continue to write as much as possible.